Kentucky University's Spring 2018 College Convocation. In this ceremony, we honor degree candidates from the College of Business and Technology. The academic regalia you see evolved from traditional academic and clerical dress worn at European universities in the Middle Ages. In the United States, the use of academic regalia dates to the American colonial period. The regalia used by Eastern Kentucky University follows the American Council of Education Academic Regalia Code that describes cut, style, and colors to indicate fields of learning. Colors representing the two schools in the College of Business and Technology are incorporated in the banners you see leading faculty and students as they enter the Coliseum. Entering first and bearing the banner for the College of Business and Technology is Miss Jadelyn Vaughn Rice, who today earns her Bachelor of Business Administration and Marketing, cum laude. Jade is from Richmond and tonight becomes a fourth-generation EKU alumna. 11 of her family members, including her parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, have received degrees from EKU, the earliest graduating in 1948. After her graduation, Jade looks forward to continuing her entrepreneurial venues and developing her career with Lexus and Map Group. Entering the Coliseum floor from the door at the far end to my right are faculty and students from the School of Applied Sciences and Technology. Each of the Schools of Applied Sciences and Technologies departments are represented on their banner. The Department of Applied Engineering and Technology is represented by the orange stripe. The maize stripe denotes the Department of Agriculture. Military Science and Leadership is signified by Science Gold. Carrying the school banner is Mr. Joshua Keith Grove, an honors scholar who is graduating today with a Bachelor of Science degree in Construction Management. Born in Richmond, Joshua moved to Boonville as a teenager, where he graduated valedictorian of his high school class. Highly regarded by the faculty, Joshua says that he received much more than just an education from EKU. He says that EKU has given him a chance at the life he is excited to live. Entering the Coliseum floor from the door at the far end to the left is the School of Business with its banner adorned in drab brown. Carrying the banner for the School of Business is Mr. Logan Tyler Smith, who today is earning a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Management, magna cum laude. Logan hails from Stanford, Kentucky, where he graduated with a perfect 4.0 GPA from Lincoln County High School. His work ethic and discipline has served him well at EKU. Logan is Beta Gamma Sigma and also a member of Sigma Chi fraternity, where he served as chapter president. He credits his many opportunities here at EKU for his budding career at Fastenal, which he intends to pursue after graduation. Logan is also excited to have recently been accepted into the newly redesigned EKU Master of Business Administration program. As the students begin to enter the arena, you see heraldry such as cords, stoles, and sashes. In particular, international students graduating from the College of Business and Technology may display stoles from their home countries of China, Japan, and Spain. At this time, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Thank you. And now, please rise for the presentation of the national colors and join Miss Cheyenne Jennings in the singing of our national anthem, and remain standing as Miss Jennings performs My Old Kentucky Home.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. The sun shines bright in the old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the people are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by, hard times come a-knocking at the door, then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dean of the College of Business and Technology, Dr. Thomas Erickson.
Good evening. Please be seated. As we begin, please join with me in thanking Ms. Cheyenne Jennings, a 2014 EKU alumni from Danville, for a wonderful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner and My Old Kentucky Home. One more round of applause. And can we also have a nice round of applause for the EKU Symphony Orchestra under the direction of Professor Jeremy Mulholland for providing music this evening. We are pleased to have with us this evening the 13th President of Eastern Kentucky University, Dr. Michael Benson. Dr. Benson, we would be most pleased if you would share a few words. Mike?
Thank you very much, Dean Erickson, and good evening. On behalf of Eastern Kentucky University, I welcome you to the Campus Beautiful as we celebrate the accomplishments of today's graduates. This coming January will mark my 25th year of working in public higher education, and I cannot recall how many graduation ceremonies I have attended. Regardless, I never tire of this vantage point and the inspiring sight of the graduates arrayed before us. You are indeed the hope of the world, and we celebrate you in this singular accomplishment. In America today, higher education is under a tremendous amount of scrutiny. What is it that we offer to society? Are we worth it? What is the return on investment? Is the cost of a college degree defensible? While America has many deficits, including trade and otherwise, I would argue that our higher education system is not one of them. On the contrary, we remain the envy of the entire world as students from around the globe clamor to attend any number of our institutions of higher education. The Times Higher Education World University Rankings is a good example. According to this list, 17 of the world's top 25 universities, that's 2/3, are in the United States. Former president of the University of California, Clark Kerr, observed this years ago. The United States has, overall, the most effective system of higher education the world has ever known. Never has there been a need to make a more compelling case for public support of higher education than there is to do so right now. Notwithstanding, it seems that this is not new. Consider the words of our very first president in his first message to Congress, and I quote, "There is nothing which can better deserve your patronage than promotion of science and literature. The acquisition of knowledge," George Washington continued, "was the surest basis of public happiness and essential to the security of a free Constitution." That, my friends, was George Washington's statement in 1790. So fast forward to the class of 2018 as we extend our heartiest congratulations. I sincerely hope the events of today will remain with you forever, both as a wonderful memory of your time at Eastern, but also as a constant reminder of the need to keep learning. Just because you leave the university today with a diploma does not mean your quest to acquire knowledge, to better yourself, to expand your abilities has been certified and completed. On the contrary, as the name of our today's proceedings suggests, commencement, this is where the real learning just begins. Now is the chance to see where that Eastern degree can take you. And it's a chance for you to show the world just how valuable higher education is to you and to our society. George Washington Carver, a hero of mine, called education the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. Consider what this means to you in your own individual circumstances. Your completed degree from Eastern Kentucky University signifies, yes, freedom from Blackboard, freedom from any more coursework or study groups or exams or research papers. But much more importantly, it also signifies this: the freedom to choose your own path, freedom from ignorance and misconceptions and fake news, freedom to come to your own decisions and draw your own conclusions, freedom to pursue whatever it is you would like to do, and the freedom to do good and to leave a positive mark in whatever field of endeavor you choose to follow. What an incredibly glorious feeling this is. So as you leave Eastern, I hope you never have felt more free in your entire life. The world truly is at your feet, and you are limited only by your own expectations and your desire to work hard and invest in yourselves. And we wish you the very, very best. And please, finally, remember these words of the inimitable Dalai Lama, who said, "Be kind whenever possible, and it is always possible." Congratulations, and go Colonels. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Benson. Parents, families and friends, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, thank you for joining us to celebrate with our graduates this milestone in their lives. As we open tonight's ceremony, I would like to recognize some special individuals on the platform. Craig Turner, Board of Regents Chair from Lexington. Juan Castro, Regent from Lexington. Richard Day, Faculty Regent from Richmond. Louis Diaz, Regent from Covington. Laura Jackson, Student Regent from Barberville. Brian Mackinnon, Staff Regent from Richmond. Dana Fole of the President's Council. David McFadden from the President's Council. And Barry Pointer from the President's Council. From the College of Business and Technology, we have on the stand Associate Dean Dr. Ed Davis and our department chairs. From the School of Applied Sciences and Technology, Dr. Tim Ross and Captain Chad Cassidy, standing in for Lieutenant Colonel Darrell Robinson. And from the School of Business, Dr. Wei-Ling Zhuang and Dr. Trish Isaacs. Our mace bearer this evening is Dr. Matthew Winslow, Chair of the Faculty Senate. And a special thanks to Mr. John Strata from the Department of Communication, the voice from above, and commencement reader for this evening. Please join me in greeting our special guests and expressing our appreciation for their dedicated service to EKU and to higher education. Tonight we honor 267 bachelor's degrees, 29 master's degrees, and 28 associate degrees for a total of 324 degree candidates. Before we move on, there is one senior from the College of Business and Technology deserving special recognition. The 2018 CBT Distinguished Senior, Miss Christina Greer Newton. Christina, who graduated in December, is unable to be with us in person this evening. She earned her bachelor's degree in horticulture, landscape and nursery, summa cum laude, and she has already begun her career in McDonough, Georgia. Every year, the college's 5 distinguished seniors, one from each of our departments and programs, are recognized by the faculty. Recipients are chosen for superior academic achievement coupled with excellent leadership, citizenship, character, and service. From this group, a single individual is selected to represent the College of Business and Technology as the Distinguished Senior to be recognized at the EKU Scholars Assembly as well as today's convocation ceremonies. Christina is highly regarded by her peers and faculty alike, known to be respectful, talented, energetic, and very determined to be successful. She earned a full-time employment offer from her Moss Miller Scholarship Internship, which, by the way, is one incredibly competitive scholarship program. Let us acknowledge her accomplishments and selection as this year's CBT Distinguished Senior with a big round of applause. And Christina, if you're watching on live feed, congratulations for a job well done as a student at EKU. This evening's graduates also include many who have achieved academic distinction, and we're proud of all those who are graduating with honors, but I want to recognize at this time a few groups in particular. If you would, please hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. Would all those who are graduating this evening from the nationally prominent honors program as honors scholars, please stand and remain standing? Honors scholars, please stand, thank you. Would all those who are graduating summa cum laude with a 3.9 GPA or higher, please stand and remain standing? Would the candidates who are graduating magna cum laude with a 3.7 to 3.89 GPA please stand and remain standing? Would Would the candidates who are graduating cum laude with a 3.5 to a 3.69 GPA also please stand and remain standing? Now, would all those graduates who are members of EKU's highest multidisciplinary honor society, Phi Kappa Phi, also stand? Let us honor all of these outstanding student scholars with a round of applause. You may be seated. Thank you. Congratulations as well to all others who are graduating with honors this evening. For more than a century, Eastern Kentucky University has been known as a school of opportunity, and we will always be proud of that distinction. I'm particularly pleased to acknowledge this evening the many first-generation college graduates who are earning a degree. This means that neither their parents nor anyone in an earlier generation was a college graduate. Will all of the candidates who are first generation in their families to earn a college degree please stand? I too am a first generation college graduate, and I applaud your accomplishment. Thank you. You may be seated. Eastern Kentucky University has strong family ties. Some of our graduates' parents and even grandparents have graduated from EKU. Will all of our multi-generational candidates, along with their alumni parents and grandparents, please stand to be recognized? Multi-generational candidates, parents and grandparents. Thank you. You may be seated. This is also the time that we recognize the many others who have contributed to the success of these candidates with resources, with encouragement, occasional cajoling, love, and understanding. Now I ask the following to stand as you are recognized and remain standing so that we may welcome and honor you as a group. Will the parents of the candidates please stand? Will the spouses of the candidates please stand? Grandparents, will the grandparents please stand? Will the children and other family members of the candidates please stand? And will the faculty and staff who have instructed and served these candidates please stand? Degree candidates, join me in showing appreciation for these very important people in your lives with a generous round of applause. Candidates, let's congratulate our colleagues, our families. You may be seated. Thank you. This spring, a member of the graduating class has been selected for the honor of presenting a student convocation address. Tonight, that honor belongs to Kelly Christine Armour from Butler, Kentucky. She is earning her bachelor's degree in agricultural education tonight. Words like unique, gifted, and involved hardly describe her level of engagement in the EKU community. In addition to serving in multiple leadership roles, she is a member of the Agricultural Honor Society, Delta Tau Alpha. Kelly is an EKU agriculture ambassador, representing the university to thousands of potential students at the National FFA Convention. And Kelly was on last spring's winning research team for the Dr. Glenn Klein Capstone Awards, a clean water research project first presented at the Alltech Innovation Competition. Sharing in Kelly's special day are her mother and father, Trish and Jim Armour, the Armours and Hanrahan, both sets of grandparents, the Armours and Hanrahans, her aunt and uncle, Karen and Tom Moley, and her significant other, Luke Banfield. I know that they are all proud of Kelly, as are we. It is my pleasure and privilege now to introduce the student speaker for this evening's convocation program, Kelly Christine Armour.
Thank you, Dean Erickson. President Benson, Dean Erickson, faculty, fellow students, and guests. I would like to start out by saying I am honored to be speaking to you today. On behalf of my classmates and myself, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the faculty, staff, and advisors here at EKU, especially in the College of Business and Technology, and of course, our families that have helped us achieve our goals. I would also like to personally thank my mom and dad, for family, friends, and boyfriend for their unwavering support. My wonderful professors in the agriculture department for deepening my love of agriculture every day. And last but certainly not least, my advisor, Dr. McDermott, for seeing the potential in me and pushing me to be a better student every day. Reflecting upon my years at EKU, I have realized I think of my college experience as a book I initially thought might have been titled 4 Years of Failure, or How to Ruin Your Future in Just 4 Short Years. But my book has turned out far better than I ever could have hoped. Let me take you through the book and share some of the lessons I have learned from its pages. The prologue was the campus visit and orientation, but the real story begins with Chapter 1, freshman year. Just as I'm sure many other first-time students struggled to adjust to college life, I really struggled to find myself my freshman year. Moving away from home, family, friends, and pets is a huge adjustment. Add to that the difficulties of becoming too accustomed to a whole new way of studying and just a whole new way of life. Fear stopped me from living to my full potential during this years. I failed failing my classes, failing to make friends, and failing to achieve my dreams. As much as I was in love with EKU, I didn't fully grasp all the opportunities that EKU offered me. My lesson from Chapter 1, don't let the fear hold you back from chasing your dreams. Chapter 2, or our sophomore year, was met with new challenges. Classes got more exciting and rigorous as we moved on from our general education courses to classes that related to our major. After sitting in my dorm room for a year, I finally decided to get involved and see what EKU had to offer me. I started an intramural volleyball team with my roommates, joined many different organizations such as Agriculture Club and the Kentucky Education Association, and started attending different school events such as football games, workout classes, and department events. While I still felt the nagging pressure of failing, those first steps out of my comfort zone were the first steps in overcoming my fears. My lesson from Chapter 2, don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone in order to live your life to the fullest. You never know where your steps may lead you. Chapter 3, our junior year. The story began to take a more dramatic turn. The challenges got tougher and the obstacles required more effort. In addition to the changes happening in my curriculum, I had moved to an apartment off campus, which was a big adjustment. However, college became less about what if I fail, but instead became how successful can I be. This year was truly the turning point in my college career. I became the president of the Ag Club and vice president of KEA. I participated in research projects. I became an ambassador for the agriculture department and had the opportunity to travel to Indianapolis and numerous high schools to promote EKU and agriculture. My lesson from Chapter 3, when you're not afraid of failure, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. Chapter 4, senior year. College became less about an extension of high school and more about the pathway to adult life and our future. Over the past 4 years, EKU has truly become our home. I learned how to step out of my comfort zone and be who I truly am. With the training and mentoring I have received here at EKU and in the College of Business and Technology, I am ready to face the challenges in a career in agriculture education. Chapter 4 has a great ending. We're all here today to prove it. My lesson from Chapter 4, don't be afraid to succeed in your career because we're about to do it. Looking back, I now realize my book was never actually titled Failing Was Never an Option. However, my book is not finished. I know my story will continue to evolve and the title may change many times. But what I've learned at EKU is that there won't be any chapters or titles or paragraphs that contain the phrase, I gave up. J.K. Rowling, one of my favorite authors, said in a graduation speech in Harvard in 2008, "Don't be afraid to fail. It can lead to success." Fear of failure held me back for many years of my life. College helped me discover who I am, what I am passionate about, and most importantly, not to let the fear of failure hold you back. We all need to take Miss Rowling's advice as we move on to the next chapter of our books. Don't be afraid to take chances. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to succeed. Don't be afraid to start your own business. Don't be afraid to love. Don't be afraid to be you. EKU has given us the tools to succeed in life and to author our own stories of success. Now it's time to write the rest of our masterpiece. Congrats to the class of 2018.
Thank you, Kelly. The future is in great hands as we graduate young people like Kelly, no doubt about it. Our keynote speaker this evening is Ms. Jerry L. Isbell. Jerry earned her BBA in accounting from EKU. She's a certified public accountant. She went on to earn her MBA at Xavier University. Jerry is an experienced human resources, finance, and accounting executive and is a highly engaged community leader. During her remarkable career, Jerry accumulated over 10 years of experience as the Vice President of Human Resources at Lexmark International, with significant experience in and a passion for employee development and mentoring, executive succession planning, diversity, and inclusion. For more than 7 years, she served as the U.S. Controller and Vice President of Finance for their largest division. Jerry has served on the National GEM Consortium Board, that's Graduate Education for Minorities, and the Nature Conservancy Kentucky Chapter Board. She's been elected to the Board of Directors at Corre International and is serving on the Audit Committee and is chairperson of the Compensation Committee. Jerry has been elected to the Board of Directors of Site One Landscape Supply, where she chairs the Compensation Committee and serves on the Governance Committee. You can see that her love of service to the community runs deep. She has also chaired the Lexington Chamber of Commerce Board, served on the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, Kentucky Judicial Compensation Commission, Lexington Catholic High School Board of Directors and Finance Council, the Catholic Diocese of Lexington Finance Council, and the YMCA of the Bluegrass. Jerry has 3 grown children and 2 grandsons, and in her spare time enjoys travel, hiking, and kayaking. As we welcome Jerry to the podium, I have one very exciting announcement. You're the first to hear this. She will be inducted into this year's EKU Hall of Distinguished Alumni. Please give a warm EKU welcome to Miss Jerry Isbell.
Thank you, Dr. Erickson, for that introduction. And congratulations to the Eastern Kentucky University College of Business and Technology class of 2018. It is an honor for me to be here with you today and to share in this wonderful accomplishment that each of you have achieved. You have chosen well in Eastern, an accredited program that's giving you a wonderful foundation, inspiring teachers, and lifelong friends. And I know for me that Eastern is each of these things, and that my degree from Eastern is the underpinning of all my success. As I stand here before you today, I think to myself, what can I say that will be impactful or even memorable? What can I say that will make a difference? And what I think about is this. At the end of your days, your life will have been what you paid attention to. That sounds so straightforward. Your life will have been what you paid attention to. So let's talk about what makes this hard to do and important to do. As you go through life making your choices, I encourage you to make active decisions, not passive ones. Be intentional in your choices and only say yes to the things that you want to say yes to, not to the things you think you should do. So how will these decisions manifest themselves in your lives? In your career, choose the jobs that showcase all of your strengths, not your weaknesses. Don't let a boss push you into a job that you don't think you would enjoy. This is your career, and you need to be driving it, what showcases your best assets and puts your best foot forward. If you do volunteer work or community service, say yes to the organizations that you admire the work that they do, and that you will be around people you respect. And finally, choose your life partner well. Choose someone who supports you in all of your accomplishments and cheers you on every step of the way, and is a real partner in all life's matters. So let's come back to the career discussion, because it's what's on each of your minds today. In the early phases of your career, you will be known for your technical abilities, relying on much of what you have learned here at Eastern. And as you progress through your career, you will be known for your EQ, or your emotional intelligence. How well do you work with others? Do you work well on a team? Do you show empathy? Are you a good communicator or facilitator? Are you accepting of diverse cultures and backgrounds? These are the skills that will start setting you apart in a very positive way in your professional career. I'm sure at times it is overwhelming to think about all the decisions you have to make. And as I look back on my own life, I see that I have centered my choices around these 5 F's: family, friends, finances, fitness, and faith. And as I've moved closer to retirement and into retirement, I have added another F called fun. So if you make good choices every step of the way around your family, friends, finances, fitness, faith, and fun, you will have chosen well. And when you look back at the summation of all of your life, you will be happy with what choices you made, and you will be happy with what you paid attention to. This is a significant milestone in each of your lives, one that you should be very proud of and very thankful for. Congratulations to each and every one of you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Isbell. President Michael Benson and Provost Whitehouse will now proceed with the formal conferring of degrees on our graduates. Candidates, as your degree is called, please stand and remain standing until the final group is called.
President Benson, Dean Jerry Pagashnik will present candidates for graduate degrees in the College of Business and Technology.
Will the candidates for master's degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, Dean Tom Erickson will present candidates for undergraduate degrees.
Will the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees please stand and remain standing? Will the bachelor's degree candidates please stand and remain standing? Will the candidates for the associate degrees please stand and remain standing? President Benson, these candidates have been approved by the faculty, and I now present them to you for the conferring of their degrees.
President Benson, with the recommendation of the faculty, the deans and I present these candidates to you for the conferring of their degrees.
Candidates, the long anticipated hour has come. You are here with family and loved ones looking on. The faculty and officers of the university are gathered in witness and testimony to your conduct and purpose. Therefore, by virtue of the authority granted me by the Board of Regents of Eastern Kentucky University, and with the faculty's recommendation, it is now my pleasure to confer upon each of you the appropriate degree, and to hereby vest each of you with the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Once verified by final grades, your diploma will be confirmed and acknowledged by the Great Seal of Eastern Kentucky University. Congratulations. Candidates, please be seated.
Tonight, the College of Business and Technology will celebrate the accomplishments of our master's degree candidates with our traditional hooding. Dr. Pagashnik, Dean of the Graduate Studies and Research, is with us tonight for the formal hooding ceremony. Dr. Pagashnik, will you please come forward? And will the honored faculty marshals please guide the master's degree candidates to the stage? John Strata will now read the names of the candidates. Out of respect for the graduates, especially those whose names are to be called next, I ask that you remain seated and hold your applause until all graduates have been recognized and the recessional begins. Thank you.
Master of Science, Peter Thomas Carew. Zachary McLean Anderson, Master of Science, Construction Management. Shelley Westwood, Master of Science, Career and Technical Education. Ashley Page Allen, Master of Science, Applied Engineering and Technology Management. Megan Marie Baker, Master of Science, Applied Engineering and Technology Management. Luis Ortega Lanuza, Master of Science, Applied Engineering and Technology Management. Jeffrey Allen Carney, Master of Science, Applied Engineering and Technology Management.
I'm an off deck.
Charles Andrew Bailey, Master of Public Administration, Public Administration. Master of Business Administration. Kristen Nicole Wilson, Master of Business Administration, Accounting. Joshua Michael Abend, Master of Business Administration, Accounting. Evan Channing Hackney, Master of Business Administration in Business Administration. Corbin Taylor Sargent, Master of Business Administration in Business Administration. Jenna Marie Castle, Master of Business Administration, Accounting. Tyler Paul Wynn, Master of Business Administration, Accounting. Robert Lee Gatton, Master of Business Administration in Business Administration. Ethan Kent Lake, Master of Business Administration, Business Administration. Yuvita Kurniawan, Master of Business Administration, Business Administration. Amin Khalil Berrios, Master of Business Administration, Business Administration. Kun Zhao, Master of Business Administration, Business Administration.
Before we Mike, there we go. Before we call our undergraduate candidates to the stage, we have a very special presentation. Life can sometimes take us in unexpected directions. I'm sure many of you here can relate to that. Back in 1964, our first undergraduate candidate tonight was set to graduate when obstacles prevented him from reaching his goal. The true test of character is how we react in the face of the unexpected. It can truly be said that this individual has well surpassed the expectations of an ordinary person. He took what he had learned at EKU and started his career in mortgage banking. After learning the ropes, he formed his own financial group, which today arranges multi-million-dollar commercial loans for businesses all over the U.S. as well as Central America. After all these years, and a careful review of his academic record, it was quite apparent that he had earned the honor of becoming an EKU alum. This evening, Mr. Walter Leroy Davidson is earning his Bachelor of Arts in General Studies. Roy, will you please come to the stage so that President Benson may present your diploma? Roy, did you say it's your birthday today? It's Roy's birthday. He's 85 years young today. Congratulations. You can certainly say that we believe in lifelong learning at EKU, no doubt about it. It is now time, we'll move on. It is now time to recognize the undergraduate candidates from the School of Applied Sciences and Technology and the School of Business. Will the honored faculty marshals please guide the undergraduate candidates to the stage? Department chairs, please join me here at the podium as your department is called. John Strada will now read the names of the candidates. And again, please hold your applause until everyone has been recognized.
School of Applied Sciences and Technology, Department of Agriculture, Interim Chair Dr. Ed Davis. Kelsey Nicole Lanehart, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture. Samantha Ray Randolph, Bachelor of Science, Agricultural Pre-Veterinary, magna cum laude. Elma Nicole Fox, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture, cum laude. Bethany Danielle McKinney, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture, cum laude. Danielle K. Milburn, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture.
It's the same. I dropped my Sean Doré.
Sean Doré. Victoria E. Tillman, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture. Micah Ann Martino, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture, Pre-Veterinary. Cody Hale Bowling, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture, Pre-Veterinary. Samantha Jo Terrazon, Bachelor of Science, Horticulture. Austin Tyler Martin, Bachelor of Science, Horticulture. Jacob A. Katzman, Bachelor of Science, Horticulture. Kendall Edward Bowman, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture, Horticulture. Kelly Christine Armour, Bachelor of Science, Career and Technical Education. Grant C. Hagerman, Bachelor of Science, Horticulture. Matthew Lincoln Hinkle, Bachelor of Science, Agriculture, cum laude. Department of Applied Engineering and Technology, Dr. Tim Ross. Martin Frayne Weaver, Associate of Applied Science, Technology. Ira Scott Callahan, Associate of Applied Science, Technology. Joshua K. Grove, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management, cum laude, Honors Scholar. Logan Wesley Carpenter, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management, magna cum laude. Jacob A. Lawson, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management. Stephen William Cummins, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management, cum laude. Boone Lane Bowling, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management. Jamie Cassidy Lake, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management. John Joseph McEntee III, Bachelor of Science, Construction Management. Beth Kamek Green, Bachelor of Arts, Paralegal Science, magna cum laude. Kristen Alexander, Bachelor of Arts, Paralegal Science. Keenan Anthony Mackenzie Glenn, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Allison Marie Adams, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, cum laude. Bradley Michael Tyra, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, summa cum laude. Kenneth Albert Gaines, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Clayton William Tonemaker, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, magna cum laude. Haley Joe Hanning, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, magna cum laude. Caitlin Michaela Willis, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Alan R. Lowry, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Macias Mulgeta Ubai, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, cum laude. Cole Barrett Farrar, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, magna cum laude. Alexander Burr Willie, Bachelor of Science, Aviation, cum laude. Robert Chandler Osborne, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Henry Thomas Manning, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Brandon Edward Paggy, Bachelor of Science, Aviation. Michael Gerald Leger, Bachelor of Science, Career and Technical Education, magna cum laude. Jeff Allen McKinney, Bachelor of Science, Career and Technical Education, magna cum laude. Aaron Gregory Hubbs, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Daniel Joseph Hubbs, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Kenneth Aaron Caton, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics, magna cum laude. Amber Lynn Lunsford, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Kyle Alexander Walters, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Austin Connor McQueen, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics, Honor Scholar. Joshua Paul Bakken, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. William Matthew Mello, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Jeremy Kyle Sutcliffe, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Caleb Wallace, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Nicholas Alexander Graves, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. Braxton Guy Moulton, Bachelor of Arts, General Studies. Aaron Jean Smith, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. John Connor Shoemaker, Bachelor of Science, Applied Engineering Management. Lucas Elliott Williams, Bachelor of Science, Applied Engineering Management. Stephen Travis Adams, Bachelor of Science, Applied Engineering Management, cum laude. Justin Andrew Calebs, Bachelor of Science, Applied Engineering Management, magna cum laude. Seth Aaron Gear, Bachelor of Science, Applied Engineering Management. Samantha Jo Price, Bachelor of Science, Paralegal Science. Anthony Frank Acosta, Bachelor of Science, Network Security and Electronics. School of Business, Department of Accounting, Finance, and Information Systems. Chair, Dr. Oliver Feltus. Associate Chair, Dr. Patricia Isaacs. Trenton Grant Claycomb, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Nicholas E. Wallace, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance, Honor Scholar. Derek Franklin Stivers, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Daniel Lee Parks Bryan, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Bethany Rachel Camper, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Neil Eugene Bassett, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Benton Thomas Kirby, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Jacob Michael Lawhorn, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Seth Christopher Morgan, Bachelor of Science, Risk Management and Insurance. Nicholas Cortland Niporti, Bachelor of Business Administration, Risk Management and Insurance. Chelsea Carol Martin, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Caitlin M. McCoon, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Michael Dane Littoral, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Jeremy Isaiah Mead, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, cum laude. Saud Bassem Al-Shabrawishi, Bachelor of Science, Risk Management and Insurance. Caleb Benjamin Bryant, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Sean Renee Zellers, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Karian Obad Grace, Bachelor of Science, Risk Management and Insurance. Brandon Michael LaBelle, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. John Michael Covington, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems, magna cum laude. Matthew Scott Doherty, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Christopher Gavin Boggs, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Derek Brandon Nichols, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Gregory Allen Tyler Webster, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Stephen Alexander Schlumpf, Bachelor of Arts, General Studies. Christian Steele Rogers, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Mantu Patel, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems. Pascal Richard Bartillo, Bachelor of Arts, General Studies. Aaron Trent Schmidtgall, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance, magna cum laude. Jared Matthew Brown, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance, magna cum laude. Matthew David Clark, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Nicholas Christopher Kubala, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance, magna cum laude. Kelly Marie Bentley, Bachelor of Business Administration, Risk Management and Insurance, and Financial Planning. Chase Gregory Culp, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, Finance, summa cum laude. Brandon Paul Gay, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, magna cum laude. Colin Stewart Hart, Bachelor of Science, Risk Management and Insurance. Garrett Matthew Johnson, Bachelor of Business Administration, Risk Management and Insurance. Samuel Aaron Markham, Bachelor of Business Administration, Risk Management and Insurance. Kevin Rafe Goins, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Andrew James Thaler, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Blake Alexander Masters Sharon, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, cum laude. Zachary Reed Lakes, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, Finance. Philip Scott Blackwell, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Hunter Chase Hart, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Silas Anderson Kern, Bachelor of Science, Risk Management and Insurance, magna cum laude. Second Lieutenant Timothy Michael Whitehouse, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, summa cum laude. Betsy Taylor Cote, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, cum laude. Catriel Alexandra Orwick, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Jewel Marie Girarding, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Blake Scott Simpson, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting. Richard Alexander O'Neill, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance, Risk Management, and Insurance. Hope Lee Prophet, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, Risk Management, Insurance, cum laude. Crystal Amber Metters, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, cum laude. Don Michael Fugate, Bachelor of Science, Risk Management and Insurance. Corey Joseph Chance, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance. Benjamin Groves Dantic, Bachelor of Business Administration, Accounting, magna cum laude. Adam Douglas Holmes, Bachelor of Business Administration, Computer Information Systems, Honor Scholar. Molly Nicole Pingleton, Associate of Arts, General Studies, with distinction. John Aaron Wesley, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Department of Management, Marketing, and International Business. Interim Chair, Dr. Weiling Zhuang. Alex Jared Gutowski, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Bobby C. Adams III, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Nathan Keith Bratcher, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Samson Javden, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Robert Sawyer Wolfers, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Samuel Mark Schmitz, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Michael Armando Cantwell, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Thomas Chappell Pittman, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Benjamin Flynn Colley, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Mark Price Agee, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Kendra Leanne Frazier, Bachelor of Business Administration, Professional Golf Management. Samantha Jean Salyer, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Sydney Catherine Zebold, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business, cum laude. Madison Marie Ware, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Kaylin Renee Prince, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing, summa cum laude. Joanna Cobb Slater, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management, cum laude. Austin Connor Hill, Bachelor of Business Administration, International Business. Tomoko Aoki, Bachelor of Arts, General Studies. Sarah Elizabeth Franklin, Bachelor of Business Administration, International Business and Management, magna cum laude, Honor Scholar. Alexander H. Hammonds, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Teresa L. Smith, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management, magna cum laude. Charles Layton Kyle Hatfield, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Brandon Christopher Love, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Daniel Chase Hale, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Daniel Travis Bevins, Bachelor of Business Administration, Finance, Management, magna cum laude, Honor Scholar. Dalton Trent Stanley, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management, Finance, summa cum laude, Honor Scholar. Donald Edgar Johnson III, Associate of Arts, General Studies. Matthew Jeremiah Douglas, Bachelor of Business Administration, Human Resource Management. Carrington O'Neill Conley, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Christopher David Korzanowski, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Shane Terrell Allen, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Sierra Lee Clark, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Jenna Nicole Shearer, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Chelsea Marie Cox, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing, cum laude. Portia Nicole Gaspard, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Logan Tyler Smith, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management, cum laude. Courtney Leanne Runyon, Bachelor of Business Administration, Human Resource Management. Natalie Jane Lecomte, Bachelor of Business Administration, Human Resource Management. Alexandra Catherine Newnham, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Jadlyn Vaughn Rice, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing, cum laude. Jason Sterling Scott II, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Malicious Sean A.G. Francis, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Kendall Nicole Lamb, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Tyler Lee Bryant, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Jalen K. Cooper, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Quentin Allen Carter, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Blake Cahill Higdon, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Nathaniel William Heckel, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Joseph Blake Henderson, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Matthew Todd Purnell, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Tyler Allen Glore, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Megan Page Smith, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Christina Chase Fain, Bachelor of Business Administration, Human Resource Management. Kyle Michael Rogers, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Ashley Michelle Carneal, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Caitlin Brooke Murphy, Bachelor of Business Administration, Human Resource Management. Heather Joy Boatman, Bachelor of Business Administration, Management. Alexander Jackson Dodd, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Landon Clay New, Bachelor of Science, Business Marketing and Education Teaching, magna cum laude. Darren Reed Miller, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Rebecca Cheyenne Hedges, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Lexi Elizabeth Parks, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business, Honor Scholar. Nancy Lee Ellen Holt, Bachelor of Arts, General Studies. Autumn Page Pruitt, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Laura Catherine Burgess, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Victoria Jade Bennett, Bachelor of Business Administration, Marketing. Angelica Jean Graham, Bachelor of Business Administration, International Business, Honor Scholar. Lindsay Brooke Barber, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business. Joanne D. Wang, Bachelor of Business Administration, International Business. Timothy Joseph Lumbricks, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business, magna cum laude. Nicholas James Perry II, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management. Connor Jimmy Hill, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management. Alex Wayne Griffin, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management. Mark Dalton Saylor, Bachelor of Business Administration, Global Supply Chain Management. Cody Michael Sedlacek, Bachelor of Business Administration, Business Global Supply Chain Management. Elena M. Rodriguez, Bachelor of Arts, General Studies, magna cum laude.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about one more big round of applause for Professor John Strada and all those names. Well done, Professor. Graduates, the moment for which you have worked so long and so hard is now at hand. If you have not already done so, please move the tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations. If I could please have the family of ROTC Cadet Timothy Michael Whitehouse please stand. The family. Captain Chad Cassidy will now issue the military oath of office to Army ROTC Cadet Timothy Michael Whitehouse.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Timothy Michael Whitehouse,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Tim.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to Lieutenant Whitehouse. Now, would all our veterans please stand and remain standing so that we may recognize your service? All veterans of all branches, please stand and remain standing. On behalf of a grateful university, we thank you for your service. Thank you very much.
Alumni are so very important in the life of a university, and we are blessed at Eastern to have the loyal support of more than 135,000 alumni. Here to represent the International Alumni Association is their Vice President, Mr. Bob Sullivan, who will now offer greetings to our newest alumni.
This evening, graduates, you're joining a very special group of individuals, men and women from all over the world who have brought great honor to this institution by distinguishing themselves in their careers and in their communities. In your time here at EKU, I hope that, in addition to your academics, that you have learned the importance of service. It is my hope that you go into your communities and into the workforce that you'll give back with acts of service, and that when you're settled into your careers, you will consider giving of your time, talents, and treasure to your Eastern Kentucky University. By being a graduate of this institution, it gives me great pride, and I'm always sharing about the campus beautiful. I hope that you will find the opportunities to share with others about your experiences here. Now, spring 2018 graduates, would you please stand? Thank you. By virtue of the degree conferred upon you by the faculty and the Board of Regents of Eastern Kentucky University, I hereby declare you to be members of the Eastern Kentucky University International Alumni Association with all the rights and privileges of membership. Congratulations and welcome. You may be seated. Just let me say, Gene Erickson, that you always have the best family reunions. That's who we are, is family. I'm so proud of you graduates. This is a huge day in your life, and to have your family and friends here makes this truly a grand reunion. Come back and see us often. Go Colonels. Thank you. Dean Erickson.
Graduates, I certainly extend to each of you my congratulations and those of my colleagues. You depart this university with our very best wishes and most sincere regard. You leave EKU a better place because of your service and your achievements. Your diploma is more than just a piece of paper. It is your ticket into the world of educated persons and an invitation to join for life the Eastern Kentucky University family. From this time forward, the name, the traditions, the influence of this university are freely yours, just as your achievements, your successes, indeed the tenor of your life will reflect forever on EKU. To the class of 2018, you represent an incredibly small portion of the world's population as college graduates. You have been granted an amazing opportunity to acquire knowledge and experience. What you do with this knowledge and your education is the ultimate barometer and will be the standard by which your life is judged. So, at the conclusion of tonight's ceremony, I would like for each of you to find your mom or dad or another family member or friend, give them a hug of appreciation, and let them know how pleased you are with how much they've learned while you've been away at Eastern Kentucky University. Moms and dads, these students are really great. Send us lots more just like them, because we want them here to become colonels. Again, as we conclude this evening's ceremony, do join us for the after party right next door in the Fred Darling Gym, right behind here on the second floor. We're pleased to share with you our very own ice cream, kind of our tradition, BizTech Blast. This is the College of Business and Technology, so we have a special flavor that was developed specifically for our college by Mad Scoops right here in Richmond. BizTech Blast is made from milk produced at EKU's Meadowbrook Farm. It's chocolate, berry truffle, and of course, it's maroon. Once you've tasted BizTech Blast, you will bleed maroon and white the rest of your life, believe me. In addition, should you start your career in Chicago, Atlanta, Nashville, or elsewhere, and you get a little homesick for EKU in Richmond, you'll be able to get a little taste of Eastern shipped to you. Our supply chain management students have been working to develop the processes and procedures to ship BizTech Blast to homesick CBT alums throughout the nation. Again, please join us for the after party to visit with family and friends and faculty and staff. To add to the fun, Kentucky Pro DJ Jason Henniger will be providing a bit of party music. And don't worry about the calories, extra sugar in tonight's treats, or the extra sugar in tonight's treats. Sugar-free options are available for you. Okay. As the recession begins, please remain standing until the platform party has left the arena floor. Now, for one last time, let us recognize with a hearty round of applause Eastern Kentucky University's newest graduates and newest colonels.